Hi there, everyone. It is currently the 18th of October, 2013, and this past 7 days out here in the Western Pacific has been, well, exceptionally deadly and dangerous by all means. It really has. So we had three typhoons, one now currently towards the west of Guam, but first we had Typhoon Nari, which you can see here 7 days ago, moving off towards the west before making landfall in Vietnam. It brought 13 casualties towards Luzon here, and then it moved off there towards Vietnam, and 11 casualties, not to mention it has been blamed and contributed to the plane crash of a Laos airliner, which resulted in 40 deaths there as well. Meanwhile, Typhoon Wipa formed out here near Guam, moved off towards the north, then started to turn towards the northeast, brought a tremendous amount of rainfall towards Ushima Island. At this time, 23 deaths have resulted from the storm, 22 of them on Izu Oshima, where a massive mudslide just wiped out an entire community and destroyed nearly 300 homes. And now we have, well, Typhoon Francisco forming up here near Guam. Tropical storm warnings are in effect, and that is what this update is going to be about. How is this storm impacting you there in Guam, and where is it going next? Because very likely could take a very similar track as Wipa. As of right now, though, it is pretty much due west of Guam. You've been seeing these tropical storm strength winds on the island throughout the day. Also, some of these outer rain bands pushed through earlier this morning. But now it looks like the worst of it's actually over with as it starts to track off there towards the northwest. But you still could see some of these outer rain bands. Just like we said yesterday, though, the bulk of these winds, which in the center of circulation are 85, gusting up to 120 knots. So a very strong typhoon by JMA standards. That core of the destructive winds are offshore. You can just see some of these outer rain bands towards the west of Guam. Did see some heavy rainfall out here. I know that at the airport, winds were gusting up to about tropical storm strength, right around 34 knots. So that is enough to toss around any light debris, but nothing too serious. I think the main threat here at this time, though, is still the threat of some gusty winds, but the large waves coming out of this, about 7 to 8 meters high. This is going into right about Friday. Right now at noontime, storm still tracking off here towards the northwest, gradually improving conditions behind it, but we're still going to be seeing these high waves. And now this is into Friday evening, well out there towards the northwest, and by then, well, conditions will rapidly improve out here across Guam and the Mariana Islands. Those tropical storm warnings will be lifted, and just go about your daily business. And yeah, the weekend doesn't look too bad out here. We might still have some of that inflow coming in around it, but nothing too serious there for you in the Mariana Islands. So where is our, well, Typhoon Francisco headed next? Let's first take a look at the official tracks here, and we have a little clearer idea of where this is going to be going. Typhoon Francisco. Key thing to know, though, is that it is actually expected to intensify up to a fairly strong typhoon going through the next 72 hours here, maxing out 95 up to 135 knots. JTWC, on the other hand, it's actually a very big split as far as the intent, because they expected to go up to a destructive 135 gusting to 165 knots. If you're not sure what that means a Category 5 strength winds. There's no question about that. That would be an absolutely massive storm system. The good news is that this peaking of intensity is going to be well over the open ocean out here. So it's going to be something pretty to look at on satellite imagery, that big buzzsaw type shape, a very beautiful storm, very well likely. Unless you're a ship out there in the middle of the ocean, though, you shouldn't be affected by the storm system, but it will be casting waves out from it all the way out towards Ioto, Guam, still some large waves, and then even over there towards the southern Japanese islands. Now, as far as Okinawa and the Amami Islands, when this starts to track into your direction, look at the intensity drop right off here. It will be a much weaker system. It's going to be entering cooler waters. Plus, we're getting into late October. That means the jet stream is moving farther and farther south. So when we get these storms tracking off there towards the north, this is just a killer for typhoons. And that, when Wipa hit this jet stream right here, it actually moved at about 90 to 100 kilometers per hour off towards the northeast and just jettisoned out here. Now, as our storm starts to get closer and closer to that, it's going to get more wind shear in it, and also this just drier inflow wrapping in from the west. And then you can see right here, this is according to the NavGem model. It starts to get close to the southern Japanese islands. That's at little low right here. We're looking at about 20,000 feet up into the upper atmosphere right now, by the way. And then it churns towards the northeast and gets wrapped up with that and jettisons off towards the north. Let's take a look at what it looks like on the surface with this same outlook here. Pull that up really quick. And really, you just show this come off towards the north. It starts to get closer to that jet stream and turns towards the northeast. With that impacting around the Amami Islands and possibly Okinawa, you could be seeing some typhoon strength gust according to this track. Now, a lot could change. We're talking about, what is this, going into next Wednesday and Thursday. I mean, a whole week out, that leaves a lot of margin for it. But at this time, Vice, yesterday when I was saying all of Japan, I still think that there's a big margin here from Okinawa all the way up through Kyushu, and more likely Kyushu and Shikoku, given what I'm seeing here on Friday. A lot could change because just depending how strong that trough is, how fast our storm develops, how far north it moves over the next coming days. But at this time, I think I'm maybe more like the Amami Islands, Kyushu up towards Shikoku. This is where I would expect it to go at this time, making its first landfall. But it's going to turn towards the northeast. Now, let's take a look at some of the models here and what they do show. Now, first, I'll show you what the ECMWF has here as our storm system starts to approach the coastline going into Tuesday of next week. Now, this is actually out towards Wednesday, starts to come in towards the picture here, just towards the east of Okinawa. And at this time, it starts to get wrapped up with our jet stream. So you'll start to see a turn towards the north. But still some pretty breezy conditions coming in along the northern periphery. And I mean, these are tropical storm strength winds, so a fairly large wind field kicking up out of this, and we'll continue to scroll ahead. Why don't we go out all the way out to about Thursday here with our storm and the winds here, and you see it trying to turn towards the northeast, and then it actually just heads up right along the coastline throughout the duration of this outlook, and possibly even nears Tokyo and the Oshima Island there, where we had that devastation from Wipa. So not welcome. This is what GFS is showing here on Thursday of next week. Fairly strong storm system in the Amami Islands. Actually, if we can rewind it just a little bit, it comes fairly close to Okinawa here, and as it does, it actually slows down and starts to turn towards the north. So this brings some typhoon strength winds to that area, given this model outlook. Now, like I said, these are just two of them, and it's still very long range. I mean, it's Friday when I'm making this. This is on Wednesday going into Thursday of next week, so a lot could change. But I'm just showing you the potential for these tropical systems and where Francisco could be going. And this is just some of the extended outlooks, or just the smash up of a few of the models. Some of them pulling it off here towards the north. A lot of them actually taking it farther down here towards the south, towards the southern Japanese islands. Like I said, at this time, I think Kyushu and, well, much of the Amami Islands is where I would put it right now. But Okinawa, don't want to take you out of it, and neither do I want to take Tokyo out of it. This is Friday. Actually, I think by Saturday and Sunday we'll have a much clearer idea of where exactly this is going to go. So with that said, stay safe out there, everybody. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please post them down in the comment box below. I know a very long update, but I just wanted to give you the full detailed synopsis on the storm system at this time, as it does continue to develop here towards the west of Guam. Thanks for watching.